What's up, guys? This time I'm doing a Cyber Dragon deck profile. I had played this quite a bit, and I think the deck is fine for like lower ranks like gold, but in platinum I do feel like it struggles quite a bit. Even with Power Bond instead of the polymerization here. Here, let me just show you guys so you can see what that does. Even with Power Bond instead of the polymerization, I feel like the deck just doesn't really have enough. Power Bond. Yeah. So I'm actually going to include that in here instead of polymerization. I used polymerization because I didn't like taking damage personally. But Power Bond is an OTK or an FTK enabler. And you can use that with limiter removal. I didn't use limiter removal in my build because I wanted to keep Cyber Dragon Infinity on board, because I tried the OTK variant and I feel like just spamming Infinity and playing Protect the Castle was a better option. But there are a lot of different variants for this deck, so if you don't like this one, I'm sure someone else has one that's more your playstyle. But let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So first we have 3 Cyber Dragon Hers. Hers is very decent. Its name becomes Cyber Dragon while it's on the field or in the graveyard. You can only use one of Cyber Dragon Hers effects once per turn, and only that once that turn. If it's special summoned, you can make it level 5, and you can't special summon except for machine monsters for the rest of the turn. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Cyber Dragon from your deck to your hand. I love that effect, and I love that that effect works so well with Galaxy Soldier, because you can send Hers and then you can add a Galaxy Soldier and a Cyber Dragon and have a Galaxy Soldier on field. So if you needed to, like if you don't have a Cyber Dragon in hand and you can't special out the Cyber Dragon, then special out the Galaxy Soldier, you can just bring out 2 Galaxy Soldiers, go into Nova, then go into Infinity. So I feel like Hers is just a really good combo enabler for Soldier, and I feel like Hers is also really good for Nashter. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while it's on the field or in the graveyard. You can discard 1 other monster, which most of the time I like to discard Hers. Special summon this card from the hand. If it's normal or special summoned, you can target a machine type monster with 2,100 attack or defense in your graveyard and special summon it. That does include Cyber Dragon Seeger, which is your linked monster. If this card is normal summon, and also you cannot special summon monsters the rest of the turn except for machine monsters, which is pretty much all we have. You can only use each effect of Cyber Dragon Nashter once per turn. So I do really like that I can discard Hers, add a Cyber Dragon, and then potentially special summon a Cyber Dragon, or what else has 2,100 attack, or Chimera Tech Rampage if it was properly summoned, or a Seeger from my grave. So I feel like 3 Hers and 3 Nashter are essential. I have 2 Max C. Max C, not being a machine monster when it's in your hand, can kind of hurt because you can't discard it for Galaxy Soldier. You can discard it for Nashter though. But 2 Max C because consistency is always key in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Next we have 3 Cyber Dragon Core. Cyber Dragon Core is very important. It allows you to get access to your spells and traps easily. And this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. If this card is normal summoned, add 1 Cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If your opponent controls a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard. If only your opponent controls a monster. So if you have no monsters and your opponent does during your turn, you can banish it from the grave and special summon a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck. You can only use 1 Cyber Dragon Core effect per turn, only once that turn. The special summon from deck effect can be useful. I have used it to beam out a Cyber Dragon before and contact fuse my opponent's board, which we'll get into in a little bit. 2 Ash Blossom and Joy Springs. If you don't know what this card does yet, I'm just going to go over it real quick. When a card effect is activated, that would include your opponent adding a card from their deck to the hand, special summoning a card from the deck, or sending a card from the deck to the graveyard. You can send it from your hand to the graveyard and you can negate that effect. You can only use 1 Ash Blossom Joy Springs per turn. And then we have 3 Cyber Dragons, because Cyber Dragon being able to comment on the board, and if your opponent's running machine monsters, which the Sky Strikers count as machine monsters, you can just, well, the Sky Strikers from the extra deck, you can just suck them up and make Fortress Dragon. Or if your opponent has something big in the extra monster zone or something annoying in the extra monster zone, like Appaloosa, you can contact that for Mega Fleet. I'm actually considering running 2 Mega Fleets instead of the 1, because Mega Fleet has been really good and has actually stolen games for me, because my opponent has that problematic Link monster, or they have that Appaloosa, and I need my monster effects. I just say, okay, special summon Cyber Dragon and contact for Mega Fleet, get that monster out of there. We'll get into the extra deck in a moment. Now we get to Galaxy Soldier, which is like the star of the deck for me. I love running this card. I know other builds don't run 3 of it, but 3 has been great for this deck for me. You can send 1 other light monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect Galaxy Soldier once per turn. So, well, that effect. You can still special summon it more than once. You can only do the add once per turn. But that effect is fantastic. We take Galaxy Soldier, we discard hers, we get a Cyber Dragon and a Galaxy Soldier to hand. If you have Nashter, you can even discard the next Cyber Dragon from your hand to bring out Galaxy Soldier, then pitch something else for Nashter, and bring back the Cyber Dragon as well. And like I said earlier, this guy can make Cyber Dragon Nova, which can make Infinity. Next we have 1 Jizuruku, the Star Destroyer. This is a machine. You can contact it off your opponent's board. It's a light machine. It's just very useful to take one of your opponent's monsters, and then if you can't beat over this, because you can actually beat over it with Seeger. If you can't beat over it, you can always contact it away. Machine duplication. So this guy's name is Cyber Dragon when he's on the field. Same with this guy, same with this guy. So you can target 1 machine monster you control of 500 or less attack, special 2 monsters from your deck with the same name as that face-up monster. So if hers is on the field, you can machine dupe him, bring out 2 Cyber Dragons, bam, make a free Nova, and then make a free Infinity. And this is not once per turn, so you can make more things or just swarm the field pretty much. Next up, we have Power Bond. Fusion summon 1 machine monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. It gains attack equal to its original attack during the end phase that this turn is activated. You take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect at the time of the summon. So you bring out Cyber Twin, he'll be 5600 attack. It'll be able to attack twice, but you'll take 28 during the end phase. I actually do kind of like this card if you're not too worried about life points. And I think that going forward, if I do ever touch this deck again, I'll probably play this instead of Poly. But there were some instances, and you might see that in the replay, where I couldn't activate that because it would have killed me. So it can be kind of a double-edged sword. Next we have Overload Fusion. Fusion summon 1 Dark Machine monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. That's basically to get out Rampage Dragon or to get out Over Dragon. I think I have a replay included that you're just going to see Over Dragon just completely destroy my opponent, or my opponent surrendering because I'm about to make an Over Dragon with over 8,000 attack. Like, I ran through all my resources, they're all in the grave, okay, it's time for Overload Fusion. Next, we have 3 Cyber Emergency. It's add 1 Light Machine monster that can't be normal summoned or set, or 1 Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. So, Cyber Dragon hers, you can add that. That counts. Cyber Dragon Nashter, you can add that. That counts. Cyber Dragon Core. You get the idea. They're all Cyber Dragons. And then, if you have, where is it? So if this card gets negated, if the activation of this card is negated by your opponent's card effect, like they herald this, and it's sent to the grave, you can discard one card and add this card back to your hand. So it's like, okay, I'll discard hers and I'll get hers effect. And then they have to determine if they want to herald the hers effect or not, which a lot of the time they do, because they don't want me getting Cyber Dragon out and doing shenanigans. Next we have 3 Cyber Repair Plant. I might actually cut this to 2 and put an Honest in here just to be like really cheeky. If a Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. If you have 3 or more Cyber Dragon in your graveyard at the time of this card's activation, you can activate both effects and resolve in sequence. You can only activate 1 Cyber Repair Plant per turn, and the effects are add a Light Machine monster from your deck to your hand, target a Light Machine monster in graveyard, summon it into the deck. The shuffling back into the deck is great to like recycle Cyber Dragon or recycle Galaxy Soldier. Cyber Rev System, I'm running another 3 of this. I like having this card. It's been very useful to get hers back from the grave and make the Nova, then make the Infinity easily. This card's just decent in general. It lets you special summon 1 Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. And that's not like till the end of the turn or anything. It cannot be destroyed by card effects. Next we have Lightning Storm. If you control no face-up cards, you can activate one of these effects. Destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. Destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. You can only activate 1 Lightning Storm per turn. And then we have Called by the Grave. Target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Banish it. If you do, till the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects of monsters with the same original name. And then we have Cyberload Fusion. So I have really enjoyed having this card because when I banish stuff for like Cyber Dragon Core, or if my opponent banishes my monsters, or if I banish stuff for Overload Fusion, this lets you take monsters that are face up on the field, or monsters that are in your face up banished area, and shuffle them back into the deck to summon a Cyber Dragon Fusion monster. So this is really decent. You can only activate 1 of it per turn, and the turn you activate it, you can't attack for the rest of the turn. So I advise doing this like after you've done your battle phase. But I have also had to use this during my opponent's turn to do stuff like making Chimera Tech Rampage in order to destroy spell and trap cards. Completely blew out a striker player with that. It was pretty funny. Next we have Infinite Impermanence. This is target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negates effect until the end of this turn. Then if this card was set before activation and is on the field at resolution for the rest of this turn, all other spell and trap effects in this column are negated. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. I really liked having the Imperm. I actually kind of might run this in other decks as well. And then next we have Cybernetic Overflow. You can banish Cyber Dragons with different levels from your hand, face up field, and or graveyard, and then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. So we got Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dragon. You know, let's wait. Are they all level 1? Yeah, 1, 2, 1. So yeah, you can do 1, 2, 3. Basically, banish 3 cards with this. Pretty nice. If it's destroyed by spell or trap card effect, basically by card effect in general, you can add a Cyber Dragon spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You only use 1 Cybernetic Overflow once per turn. And then we have Solemn Judgment. Pay half your life, negate a monster or monsters that would be summoned, or a spell or trap card that's being activated, and negate the activation. So that's it for the main deck. This deck's pretty standard. Next we have Rampage Dragon, which is 2+ Cyber Dragon monsters. Can only be done with the above fusion materials. When it's summoned, you can target spell and trap cards on the field up to the number of fusion materials used for its summon and destroy them. Once per turn, you can send up to 2 Light Machine monsters. I pretty much always send hers, or if I need to beam something out with Core later, I'll send a Core as well. And if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard, it gains an additional attack, so you can potentially attack 3 times, which is pretty nice. And it's not an additional attack on monsters, it's an additional attack period, so you can actually OTK your opponent with this, which I have done before by getting rid of my opponent's back row with Lightning Storm and then just going off and getting this guy out there. This is another reason to run Power Bond. and I would highly recommend running Powermon if you do want to go for the OTK, because this deck playing the long game is kind of hard, is what I found out. 2 Cyber Dragon Twins. I really like Twin because it can also OTK. I might go back to 1 Twin and 3 Rampage instead. A fusion summon this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. 2800 beater that can attack twice is pretty good. 2 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragons. Cannot be used as fusion material. Must first be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from your field to the graveyard. It takes Cyber Dragon plus 1 or more machine type monsters. You do not use polymerization. The original attack of this card becomes 1,000 times the number of fusion material monsters used for its special summon. So the spec is pretty good. I like the fact that if my opponent has Sky Striker, I'm just going to say Hayate, the green one, I can summon Cyber Dragon, then contact her off the board. And then next we have, oh, and it's a fusion too, so it doesn't do like the destruction effect for Ray, I believe. And then we have Chimera Tech Overdragon. Cyber Dragon plus 1 or more machine monsters must be fusion summoned. If this card is fusion summoned, send all other cards you control front row and back row to the graveyard. This card gains attack and defense to become equal to the number of fusion materials used for its fusion summon times 800. This card can attack your opponent's monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of fusion materials used for its fusion summon. If you can blow out the back row with something like Lightning Storm, and then you can play this card easily, this card can basically just steal games. Next we have Mega Fleet, which we covered earlier. Its effect is basically the original attack becomes number of fusion materials for a special summon. It's pretty much always going to be 2. It's 1 Cyber Dragon monster plus 1 or more monsters in the extra monster zone. You could, for whatever reason, use one of your monsters in the extra monster zone, but meh. Most of the time, I just use this to get rid of Apollosa if my opponent plays it in the extra zone. Next, we have Cyber Eternity Dragon. 1 Cyber Dragon monster, 2 or more machine monsters. Got that 4,000 defense. If a machine fusion monster is in your graveyard, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this fusion summon card you control sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Cyber Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard. This turn, your opponent cannot target fusion monsters you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. So, pretty decent. And it's just Cyber Dragon and 2 machine monsters. Next, we have Cyber Dragon Nova. Once per turn, you can detach material from this. Target 1 Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, special summon it. I do use that effect quite a bit. Its quick effect is you can banish Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up monster zone. It gains 2,100 attack until the end of this turn. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 machine fusion monster from your extra deck. Pretty much, I think I actually get this guy most of the time because he has that 4,000 booty. So that's pretty good. Some people run Barbaroid, which is like the big, he's the really big Roid monster. He's a 4,000, but he can't like attack directly. But some people run that for when he's destroyed. I'm on the fence about it. Next we have Infinity. Cyber Dragon Infinity is going to be 3 level 6 light machine monsters, or you can once per turn XYZ summon it by using a Nova you control as material and transfer its materials to this card. Gets 200 attack for every material attached to it. And once per turn, you can target a face-up attack position monster in the field, attach it to this card's material. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can detach 1 material from this card and you get the activation if you do destroy it. There was one time when I knew my opponent was going to activate a card effect, so I had my own hers in attack position. I attached it to my Infinity during my turn, and then when I activated the Infinity effect and detached hers, it was sent to the graveyard, so I got to get the hers effect as well. Next we have Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. I like running this card because if an XYZ monster battled this turn, you can summon it with just putting Zeus over it, and it gains its materials, kind of like you would summon Infinity. Also, this card is a machine. If your opponent summons it, you can just summon hers and say, ha, this card's a Cyber Dragon, that's a machine. Me Contact, Chimera Tech. But the main reason we use Zeus is you can detach 2 materials, send all other cards from the field to the graveyard once per turn. If another card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can attach 1 card from your hand deck or extra deck to this card's material. And then we have Cyber Dragon Seeger. This card got me out of a lot of situations, and if your opponent makes something like huge, like Access Code Talker, and they ram Access Code Talker into something, you can use Seeger effect to make a monster gain 2,100 attack during the battle phase if Seeger has not declared an attack yet. So you just target one of your guys, gains 2,100 or more. And the reason why you would want to do that is after that effect happens, neither player would take battle damage from attacks involving that monster. So like they attack Seeger with Access Code Talker. I boost Seeger up to 4,000. I'm not going to take any damage. The only thing I'm going to do is lose a Seeger. And that is fine since I can easily bring it back with Nashter if I really need it. So Seeger was more useful than I thought he was. And you're going to see an example of me using Seeger to save my butt in the replays. But this deck was kind of fun. I wouldn't recommend it for being super competitive. If you are going to play it competitively, I would definitely run Power Bond for the OTK FTK potential. And yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with the replays. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.